Hello, namaste, and welcome to Agile Exploration Hub. I'm your host Nagesh Deshpande. On this episode of Talks with Deshpande ji, we have another guest, Ankur Tandon. So I'll introduce all of you to Ankur. Ankur is having more than 17 years experience in IT. He comes from quality assurance background, and he started Agile practicing Agile. I would rather say practicing Agile 9 years back. He's a certified Scrum Master, certified product owner, and an Agile coach. So his keen interest is around agility and as well as quality assurance. So we today bringing a very interesting topic, my personal favorite because I worked on this back in 2017-18, and we'd like to present today behavior driven development best practices, popularly known as BDD. So let's welcome Ankur. Namaste and welcome.
Namaskar, Nageshi, and thank you for inviting me here. It is
Great.
always
How are
pleasure
you
talking
doing,
to you.
sir? How are you doing, sir?
Good, sir. Going on. Lot of things which are going on and coping up with it, learning new things and doing something different. Very good. How are you,
Absolutely.
sir?
All great, all great. And rightly said, learning new thing is the key to success. So that's what I say. Right. So we Ankur and me got connected through a mutual friend, and then we had discussions about topics and all that. And Ankur said that let's pick up something very different, someone which haven't spoken about. And then we brainstorm and then we come up with this topic. So Ankur, uh, for my audience, will share what, in some simple terms, what exactly is behavior driven development or BDD?
Okay, so Nageshi, let's start with couple of things. One is behavior-driven development. Okay, so
Hmm.
as most of the people might be knowing and the things, it is on natural language or simple language. Let's put it simple
Hmm.
language. So today we will not use any jargons. Okay, for our
Hmm.
session, for our discussion, no jargon is the key mantra for our BTD. Okay, starting with that. Second thing is, if you see, most of the things which are being developed, okay, are towards that how the users should be using it. Okay, so basically it is not what our capabilities are or what our role is, but keeping the user, the actual customer or the user in the center and thinking from that perspective. So how does an application, a mobile app, or a mobile itself, or anything in this world that you are manufacturing, or you are generating, or you are developing, should behave. So it is like how it should actually behave so that the user should be able to use it. Okay.
Hmm.
And that
Right.
was kept in the center or the core of the entire thing. And that is from where there they started that let's focus on that part and then let's get started. So behavior development is in very simple terms is how an application should behave is the core thing. And after that, it starts getting developed in different steps and processes which are there. So if you ask me, what is the exact behavior of an application should be, and is it working in that same fashion or not, is what is behavior driven development.
Okay. So to summarize, behavior driven development is something which is an application or a system should work in simple English, not
Correct.
in technical language, not in business language, simple English.
Simple English.
That's all.
Absolutely.
Great. So let's take it ahead. This is very interesting now
Yeah.
because I've seen a lot of people using very technical language into the discussions, explaining, technical flow, data house flowing, or technical discussions, or even in the business terms, they will use big jargons. But in
Correct.
English,
Hmm.
it's very interesting now. So moving on, so how does it different? We already discussed some part, but how does it different from traditional development approach and the behavior driven development approach?
Okay, so let me start with that. Let me start with traditional, because we are
Hmm.
experts by now. Everyone is an expert in traditional way.
Yeah.
Simple.
Let's not call it an expert, but experienced, highly
Yeah, we are
experienced in that.
experienced. Yes, yes. Yeah. So that is correct. So I will start that uh, anybody having a experience in that will say that, okay, I will get a requirement. Okay, that is always a step one. Then there will be a process of development which will happen, and then the testing will happen, and finally there will be certain user acceptance testing, or users will come and validate that an application, and it will go. Now, if you see, the entire thing which was about the users is coming towards the end of it.
Hmm.
Okay, in the traditional part of it. What behavior development did was, or the BDD did was, let's start from that point. Okay.
Hmm. Okay.
Now, so it is almost it. I'm not saying it is reversed, but the starting point is that. So the users or
Hmm.
the business owners were brought in first, saying that you write your requirement in a very, very simple language, English language, not
Right.
in a very domain specific language. Okay. And when you are writing, it is not your only responsibility to write the requirement and say that, now, see, I have written something, now it is up to you, you take it forward. Okay. No, we will be with you. When I say we, generally the technical team, the testing team, and
Hmm.
others, okay, they were also asked to come and contribute. Now,
Hmm.
now when you do that, you are saying someone is an expert in business, someone is expert in technical, somebody only knows how to do the testing, but they have to communicate to each other. Okay,
Hmm.
now three
Hmm.
people are sitting on a table and they are communicating. Then there has to be a common language in which they can communicate.
Right.
Correct? So, so that is where the BDD core thing came in, that let's talk in very simple language. And that is how it all got started. Means
Hmm. Hmm.
there was something which was developed as an, means if you see anybody who might have read little bit of BDD, they might have gone. It's very simple thing, that given an application, certain scenarios which are there,
Hmm.
okay, what will happen, okay, and what is the final outcome. This is how you have to just write the entire thing, understand in a technical way as well, and do the testing. So that is how it all changed, keeping your users or business in the central part of it.
Okay. So three people will come together. You want me to say a
Yep.
developer or business and then testers. So what we are building, how we are building, and how we are
Correct.
testing.
Correct. Correct.
As
Correct.
simple as that.
As
But
simple as
that all this discussion will happen in English.
it will happen in English. Simple English.
Simple English.
Simple English.
Right. So now in this situation, let's say even if these three persons are discussing and some a person who doesn't have knowledge of technology is listening to this discussion, maybe we record it and then we ask them to listen, they will be able to understand and resonate immediately with that. Oh, something which is, I understand. This is what I want. Oh, this is I don't want.
Correct.
Right. Great. Nice, nice. Okay. So now we as Indians, English is not our native language.
Correct.
We
Correct.
learned it.
Hmm.
Right. So now it can be challenging, not for everyone, but for many of them, because we came from different cultures, different education systems, and all that. But then, you know, Can you share some examples how BDD improves the communication? Because English is essential here and it has to be improved. So how it will improve?
See, okay, when we talk, so this is what Dan North, the one who invented, and his colleagues who invented this. So let's say thank to Dan North as well. They have brought in a very simple language. Even in English, what they have brought in is given, when, then. These are the three syntax which you have to use, and there is one
Right.
more which is and.
And
So,
yeah.
and A&D. Okay. Now this is called as a Gherkin language, which is there. They named it as Gherkin language. Okay. Now all the scenarios or a requirement, supposingly, let's take as an example. Okay. What they did is that, given that if I give my email ID as a login function, okay, they, when I give my password correctly, okay, which is alphanumeric, then the login should happen. Okay.
Right.
If you are going to write a negative scenario, you will repeat the same thing, but you will change that I am using only English alphabets.
When
And
I
then
enter an incorrect password.
incorrect password. Okay. So that is how they have made it very simple, that given, when, then. This is how it should happen. Also, Nagishi, I will tell you that one important aspect was that they said that when you are discussing on the table, okay, let's also jot down certain examples which are going to help you. Okay. Or which are, because now not the entire team can be there on the table. Okay, means we also understand that there are certain large number of projects. The project team size might be huge, and it might not be possible on a practical ground that everyone is sitting on that table and discussing. Correct. There, if you are writing certain examples, okay, that okay, let's put 3-4 examples to explain that. Okay, and that is how we were able to replicate those things much easier. Okay, so when you are writing an example of a login function in given, when, then, you also give certain examples to it. Or if you are writing for an insurance company that how they are going to select a policy, okay, then write certain examples as well, okay, for the explanation. It will really help that way. So it was English, then summarizing it into just 4 very simple syntax, you can say, okay, and which will ultimately, with certain examples, make it very easy to understand. So that is how they I think they have tried to simplify. And uh, Nageshi, I will say that not only for this one, this is still India where we understand English to some extent. Okay,
Right. I was
to be
about to come to that
to be
topic. Yes.
very fair, if you see Southeast Asian markets, if you see there are different European countries and so forth, where English is still not a primary language at
Right.
all.
Right.
Okay. And then understanding that was much easier because you have zeroed it down to just 4 syntax, so that it becomes much easier.
Absolutely. See, we adopted English very well. It's in our
Correct.
education system.
Yes.
Large population of India speaks or understand English. But there are few countries in Europe or even Latin America, South America.
Correct.
They are not openly adopted English as we have adopted. So
Absolutely.
they,
Yes.
they, they prefer their native language or the language they are speaking from the centuries. So for them, it will be more challenging, and I can certainly understand that. That's very well explained,
Correct.
Ankur. Very nice. Now, um, so how how do we ensure that everyone understand the scenarios now? You explain few scenarios here, but there are much more complex scenarios where if I put an example of integration of two system maybe.
Hmm.
So how this scenario someone will understand if I'm writing in English?
See, it is also important that we might have to realize that we should be open of the fact that whether we have to use BDD at all the places. Okay. So some certain places where I have seen that these are very technical. It has nothing to do with the business or end product. Okay. It is more of an upgrade when we are talking about. Okay. It has nothing, the application will still keep on behaving in the similar fashion. Your users will not even realize that there is a change in their application. It is just an upgrade which is happening. Okay. And kind things. Okay. There, if the team is not very confident, you should avoid BDD. I am not of always an opinion that no, there is only one thing that you should be adopting across. Okay. While if you see, your question is very interesting. Okay. If you see, I'm doing a technical integration. Okay. What my technical integration should do, given that my technical integration is done. Okay. When my technical integration is completed, then my application should still keep on behaving in the similar fashion. That is what you are saying. Okay.
Right.
Because maybe that at a integration level, maybe at a backend level, something that I have changed, but my application or my mobile app is still functioning the same thing, whether I'm using Azure, whether I'm using something else, or I'm using a COTS product, SAP, Oracle, doesn't matter. But ultimately my front end, which is an end user, should experience the same thing or something better. Okay. So yes, sometimes it is a little tricky to use that because explaining is difficult, but maybe that from that perspective, you might have to bring in your thought process that you really want to put it in a BDD format, or you can go and simply go ahead and do it. But yes, what I have interestingly seen, and this I saw yesterday. Okay, if there was a project which is for life sciences. Okay.
Okay.
Life sciences. It is I will not tell many details about that project, but
That's fine.
this
Yeah.
is, it is a little tricky project which is there. Okay. And one of the most advanced features which are going to be there. Okay. Now, if you see, the users are going to be doctors who doesn't care about what you are doing in their IT system. Okay. Absolutely. You use BDD or whether you use any other function.
Rocket science doesn't matter to them.
Correct. My things should work. Okay. And it should work when I need it exactly at that point.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So what they have done is, and I was really happy to see that what they did, they have, while their integrations or the technical part, they were running it into a simple agile format kind of thing, but their UAT part or the user acceptance part, they have again broken it into a BDD format.
Okay.
So the entire scenarios which were written were like the way it was working earlier, given that situation. Okay, is it working still in the similar fashion or not? Okay.
No.
And that they were trying to do, and they were using Cucumber as well. They were using Python to integrate and automate and other things which they were doing. So I felt really good that, okay, maybe that, yes, not everywhere you might have to use, but they utilize the BDD part very well.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's true. See, doctors will easily understand simple English. So for them, it will be easy to adopt it. Very
Correct.
nicely mentioned, Ankur. Moving ahead, so some of the your favorite, or most effective best practices in BDD.
Okay. So see, I have opinion about it, means, and that is what at least the projects that I have run, couple of them, or I can say at least 4 or 5 projects that I was part of it or I know. See, we are always living in a very complex world. Okay. When you tell that no, you have to use a simple thing, that also is a very complex thing. Okay. I told you I've been using jargons and the way it is and articulating, and now I'm telling no. You just put it in given when then. That's it. I don't want any other thing. Okay, it's
Right,
very difficult. Okay.
right.
So first thing that I always say is start with a training. Okay, start getting adopting to it is the most important aspect which is there. That is what I always feel. Pick up a small pilot and run your BDD thing in that pilot project. Okay, pilot has to be very simple project which has
Right.
to be there. Third thing, I always request, at least wherever I have worked, my management, that please don't measure this project in the similar parlance what you are measuring the others.
Hmm.
Okay, because we have been using that for years. Okay,
Right.
here you are starting with it. Okay, so you have to be considerate about that. There might be a little hiccups which might come initially,
Hmm.
but if you give that confidence, it will be very easy for them to come up in future, and we can really scale up. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
these are the three things which I always feel. The another important aspect that I always tell everyone is that try to bring automation as early as possible. It might be a little tough. Okay, it might be really not easy. That okay, you are trying on one hand you are saying that make it simple, and on the other hand you are trying to build within that, because your requirements are coming from the direct users, okay, or the business people, so they are almost final. Your test cases are ready, so why don't you automate it immediately? Considering all that, if you can bring automation, it will really save your time a lot. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
And faster. Basically, that is what you wanted, to cut down on the peripherals which are in the end. Okay. You just bring it everything. So automation is another important aspect and very simple to do. Okay. Because your scenarios are ready. The last thing that I always say is that collaborate.
Hmm.
Okay. That is the another thing which either I start with training or I start with collaboration. Okay. Please understand that cut the boundary saying that my part was only requirement, my
Hmm.
part was only development, my part was say that it is our
Our
application.
efforts. Yes.
Okay, the moment you bring in our application, our thing, it becomes a completely game changer. That okay, no, my application, I am not finding a bug, I am not finding just a defect. Okay, it is in my application, because when they were writing the requirement, I was also there. Then if it is getting missed, then I am also at fault. So the moment you start feeling from for the others as well, it becomes a joint effort and your scenarios become very strong. And that is the key thing that should be understood by the people.
Very nicely mentioned, Ankur. Very nicely. So two things I will talk about is something which you mentioned about simple. So whenever someone says that, explain it simply or in a simple language, I remember the scene from movie Swades.
Correct.
Yes, when a common man, a simple villager, ask SRK about, what do you do?
Yeah,
And then he said that I send
I
satellites to the
remember,
space
yes.
and then it orbits around. And then what does it do? Why you have to do it?
Yeah,
And he was unable to explain it,
correct,
exactly in
correct.
a simple language.
Simple language.
So that's important. And when that lady explains it, he understood. So what is the purpose and why we are doing it? And another thing is communication. It's very essential when you working in a team. Communication and collaboration is very important. First of all, the why, understanding of why should be the same. Why we are doing
Absolutely.
this, right? If your understanding of why and my understanding of why is different, then there will be a problem.
Correct. Correct.
And another thing is like how they are doing it, what they are doing it. My team members.
Yes.
Again, my team members.
My.
that
It
that
should be
that
my.
has to be understood. So
Correct.
here, that these are the key essentials that I want to add on top of you, and it's very nicely mentioned. So coming to our last question of the day is that, how can a team start implementing BDD in their projects? So something new. So you already gave few tips. but then are there any books to read? Are there any videos to watch? Are there any sites they can go and explore? Anything whichever you can share.
So I will suggest that they should get started with reading certain things which
Hmm.
are available. Okay, on BDD. Okay,
Hmm.
there are multiple books which are also available, written by Dan North, and there are so many videos as well from him and his colleagues which are there. Okay, and they tell exactly what has to be done. More importantly, is that you start feeling with the factor of oneness, or I can say that
Hmm.
you you give your commitment that no, I will ensure that this application becomes successful. Okay.
Right.
Now, what I exactly mean by that is you don't have to you have to cut your boundaries. Okay. Understand others' perspective as well.
Right.
Okay. And do a little bit of practice of how you will articulate your thing in a very simple way.
Right.
Okay.
Hmm.
Just as an example, before the session, my son was asking, so this Agile Exploration Hub is what? Okay. I was like, it is, he said, it is like Hanuman serial, or is it like something else? So I tried explaining him, and since we have been talking, he knows you. So he was telling that, yes, I know Deshpande ji, but what he does, will he do acting or will he? I said, no, we will be discussing. So you might have to really come out of your particular role that you have been doing, okay, and see that how you can contribute towards the entire thing, explaining it in a very simple way to others. Okay, and that is the core thing. So if you can make it understand to a person who definitely doesn't have an understanding of your work, then you will be successful very soon. Okay, and that is the core thing. People might have to practice on that, and then it will help.
Great. Great, Ankur. It was wonderful to discuss all these things with you. Thanks being the part of Agile Exploration Hub. We'll stay in touch. In future we'll have another episode, maybe on different
Sure.
topic, maybe on same topic. And to my audience, if you enjoy this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And keep learning. So once again, thank you, Ankur.
Thank you, Nageshi. You are doing a wonderful job. Please keep it on always.
Bye bye. Thanks.
Thank you.